Okay, folks, getting started here. See if anybody comes in or not. We'll do a couple things that I needed to get done here. Put in the little side foams for the battery. Okay, folks, getting started here. See if anybody comes in or not. We'll had to turn off the sound. I've got it streaming on my browser also. Kind of watch how things are going. Say, this is just mainly a test for make sure my software is working all right. It worked good the other night. But maybe something a little different. I don't know if I've ever seen anybody live building a kit, although I'm pretty slow at doing it. Pretty meticulous about how I build things. And I got the side pads in. We'll put the bottom pads in. Say these are the battery pads where the battery sits. So I should have had that one back a little bit more. Too late now. Get kind of shoved in there. I guess if I gotta trim it, I gotta trim it. That's the way I should have laid the first one in. So I can do this to it. See if we can get it out of there. The knife ain't very sharp. That might be a good thing, it might be a bad thing. Okay, got that in. Well, the next thing is putting the servo in. I don't use the plastic servo horn. I've got an aluminum one here. We'll probably be live for a couple hours. I do need to get a little bit of grass mowed yet today. I didn't quite finish it up the other night. It was too dang hot. But, and although that should probably be Loctited in there, I'm not going to. In most every servo I've been involved with, you kind of want turn it to the one side and it should be around 90 degrees to straight up and down where it bottoms out. You never get it right the first time. I'll end up having to pull this back out, but I don't know if it's there. That's pretty much 90 degrees, but I think it's usually about a tooth off, but we'll go with it for there for now. Put in, they do give you a screw for that. Hopefully it's the right thread. Some of them aren't. You might have to go into the servo kit and get a screw, but this is one screw you do want to Loctite. It will work loose if you don't. But usually just one time, if you ever got to pull it back out or off, as long as you get some of that Loctite in the threads, it's usually good to go. Take a look at this too. Okay. Another thing, especially with the trucks, I don't like their servo link. I know they've made them better, but normally use two of these with a set screw with the little spacer and tighten it down. That's the right length. But I don't like those. They, in a truck, especially with all the aluminum stuff that I use, you'll beat those out and they'll get slop in them right away. Trucks are terrible about it. So what I do, and they're a little hard to find, somewhere down here in my parts, I've got one of the old B5 steering links. Now this part number is about impossible to find. And what it also does, instead of using these little tiny ball studs, which work on these, you use a normal size ball stud. That's what I got these two out here for. The 91-455 part, like I say, it's impossible to find. They've quit making them. They did include this in a kit for, I believe it was a ready to run shortcut course truck, and the part number is 91-469, and it come with all the old B6 ball cups, but that link was in there. Hi Jersey, glad to see you in here. It's today I'm doing my part 2 today. I probably aren't staying up with chat quite as good as I should, but anyway, this was the old B5 link. It's solid. It uses the big ball studs, and that's what I got out there instead of these little ones and their little thing that they use now on the B6s. But like I said earlier, I'll probably be gone for about a couple hours working on this. I got some mowing yet to do, but Yeah, kind of interesting building these things. This is my steering servo. I'm putting in or putting together right now, getting ready to put it in. The only bad thing about using this in these ball studs on the like the 6.2 models, this is the top plate that sits over the top of the steering, and that servo sits in there like this. I think they updated this part, and it does look like maybe they did. You did have some conflict with this top brace, but like I say, I think they've re-updated this top plate on the 6.4s, maybe even the 6.3s, to give you clearance in there. I can go ahead and put that. It might be better if I get that in and put the other link bull stud in. Yeah, this is a little different jersey. I don't think I've ever seen anybody live build a kit. Like I say, I'm doing it over several days. Some guys can kick these out in a few hours, and it usually takes me about 8 hours to. I'm pretty meticulous about making sure I got everything right. Okay, that's in place. I know, well, I know this one's a little harder to get out. Oh boy, those are tight. But that's a good thing. They don't pop off. I don't know if I can get in there, get it or not with the pliers. I'll have to just force it on there. Kind of being a pain. Need a bigger pair of pliers, I think. Might have to go in the other room and get them. Ugh. It snapped on tight, but it's on there. Hi, Dennis. Something a little different here. You're a racing guy, but you race the big cars, or did. A lot of parts trees. You got to get rid of those little burrs. It's gone. Okay. Let's That's what they show putting these in first. These are a little stand, or this is a little standoff for the servo. They changed these. The original 6 series, they had little pieces coming off these side rails that the servo mounted to. And honestly, I like that better than being screwed down through the chassis, because when these are done, especially the carpet cars, we put a chassis protector underneath these, and it don't make those screws accessible. But they claim that it gives a better feeling, or more direct. There isn't as much give. I guess that's what they claim anyway. I personally think it was the wrong way to go. They went away from it with from the old B4 car, and now they're back to it. And I didn't like it then because you'll strip these screws out. But anyway, I guess that's their prerogative. Yeah, Dennis, they do. Like here I am, I'm on, and it, you know, it tells you in order, and everything is bagged up. So as you get in, you know, to each step, like I'm on bag 2 right now. Then you like get into bag 3, and then they, all that stuff that you use in the bag 3, I'll grab it here. Everything is bagged up in the kit, so you, like there's bag 3, and all the parts you'll need for it. At least you hope all the parts are in there. But yeah, they give you pretty much real good instructions to build the stuff. They didn't always do that. Associated was always pretty good about how to build stuff, but some of the, like Losi, they hit, some of their books were kind of bad, and that's another brand. Kyosha was terrible, but yeah. And then even still then too, in the front of the book, you know, you see all these different length screws and stuff. They even got you a little chart that you can lay the screws up against and see if they're the, you know, the right length. Pretty easy to get the wrong screws in the wrong spot. But yeah, Associated's pretty good about it. Okay, do I got any of them in the little fancy gold ones? I should hit them. Like all of them are longer. Oh, there's one. I like these gold screws too. They got a deeper head. They're made by Trinity. Yeah, that's the same length. See if I can find another one in there. And they're blingy, look better. Oh, there's one. Cool. We're going to use the gold screws instead. Exactly, Dennis. I've had that happen. I've had kits where they were good all throughout the whole thing, and I've had some that are missing just one part. And it's a good thing I've got a lot of extra parts because I've got lucky. I think one time I had to order something that they actually forgot. And Associated's pretty good about it. If you got a hold of them, they would send out the part because they do know that they screw up. You know, they're assembled in China, so you never know what. But they are quality control supposed to check them. I know they used to have a bag or a little sheet that had the guy that assembled whatever part. I guess so they could tell if somebody was doing a good job or not. Yeah, that's a little standoff for the servo. Okay. Yeah, now that uses those 4 goofy headed screws. I like them, I guess. That you used to just have a regular screw with a washer underneath it, and it was always a pain in the rear to get them to go back in the right spot. Oh yeah, I need to Loctite those. Anything into metal to metal, you got to Loctite because they'll vibrate out. Yeah, you'd think for the money that you pay for these that they wouldn't be missing no parts. These kits, bare kits, are about $350 to $400. $400 by the time you pay for tax. And that don't include like the servo or any of the electronics. Battery, radio parts, or receiver. So by the time you get done, said and done, you may be into these for, well, you just depend how good of a quality radio, especially that you buy. Can be into it for over $1,000 just to hit the track. And we got to build them ourselves. But building them ain't such a bad thing. It teaches you how to tear it back apart when you break it. I probably shouldn't tighten those super tight yet, because you got to get the holes to line up to through the chassis. Okay. See what size screws they say for them. 3 by 10. I think that's the 10s. I think those are 12s. And these are probably, if I got a couple of these gold ones, I probably better use them. Like I say, the heads are deeper in these gold screws, so you don't strip them out as easy. kind of like to use the gold where they're blingy, show up, where these won't. But okay, get started in there. See the hole? Just be right there. Come on. Well, try it in the other one. Should be right there. Get in there. Doggone, it started. Yeah, there we go. Oh, the threads are a little bit buggered, I think, maybe. Put it on the power wrench. We'll make it go in there. That's why I say you don't want those screws super. There it goes. Don't want to tighten up all the screws super tight till you get them all in there. Okay, let's see if we can get the. Of course, I'm not going to snap that on right now because that horn probably is not in the right spot. So I think we'll just leave that off for right now. When I get the rest of the electronics, basically have the car built. Hook up a battery to it, and you want that horn when it's like when you get the radio set up and everything, so it's pretty much straight up and down, and it never fails your one thread off on that thing. So anyway, back in there. Okay, ready to put the top plate on. 3x14 button heads. So that's those two. 3x10s button heads. So that's two of them. Probably don't. Oh yeah, those are those little flat. Oh. Oh, okay, it's these. See, we got two of them. That's in a blingy spot. It looks like the right length. Two of them. It looks like it's too long. Yep. That's one. That's a little bit long. That's long. Might end up having to use the longer ones. Oh, there's one. Yep. Okay, top plate. Oh yeah, another thing, like I've said before, these are carbon fiber. This stuff, this is aftermarket, so not aftermarket, it's stiffer stuff. And it's best pre-run a screw and cut the threads into that carbon fiber. And I'll do that with a separate screw. I say it's best pre-cut the threads in them. Oh, helps to go the right way. Ah, dang it. And it ain't gonna stay put. Yeah, if you don't pre-cut those threads, you just put the screw in, it's like it almost melts the screw right into the material. Then you go to take it out, it don't want to come out. Oh, yeah, got to switch sizes. Oh, I don't know why I thread locked that. Don't need to thread lock that stuff. Probably better take it back out. And that's the one thing too. I don't like using the wrench to tighten, or the power wrench to tighten clear up either, because too easy to strip the screws out into the plastic. Run that one back out and get the stuff off of it. Although that one ain't as bad as those front ones. For some reason those things like to be kind of difficult to get out. One thing, using them gold screws that are a little bit deeper, it's a little bit tougher to strip those out. Okay, got servo and top plate in. Just looking at my clearance, like I was saying before, there was some issues. Oh no, that ain't good. It's not in a good spot. Probably have to pull my top plate back off. So I should have had that back. Oh, that was. Of course, it might be just as easy to do this. One screw versus four. Unless they don't want to come out of there. There we go. And I'll hope that that clears. Or I may have to, like I've had to do on the others. Yeah, I think it will. They did have, like I said, they've cut a little bit of material out of these now that gives the clearance for this piece. Cut a little bit out of right here. I've had to trim these out on the older kits, and they actually got a spot there now that they trimmed this a little bit. Okay, servo in. Oh yeah, sway bar. Ooh, why is that so tight? I've got a bigger sway bar in there. Oh, maybe I don't like to have that. Looks like I'm going to have to tear the top plate back off. Got a heavier sway bar in there than Associated makes. Okay, there it goes. Why did it loosen up there? It's got to be that little set screw. That's not working clear up, so we'll have to pull that back off. Just should have checked it. I think the little set screw should be on the bottom. Say they've changed this up in this kit just a little bit. It used to have two little screws that held this in place. And I'm wondering if that set screw, since I've got a heavier, yeah, it's dragging. A little set screw in there, since I got a heavier sway bar, it don't have the clearance. That's the reason I flipped it upright. I don't know if I can solve this problem without doing a little grinding. It catches right there. Let's try moving the set screw 180 degrees. See if there's a little more room in the front. Oh, there ain't. They'll throw a whammy at me, ain't they? Let's say that sway bar is heavier than what Associated makes. So what's happening, since that's a bigger sway bar, that little nub of that set screw is catching where it rotates in there. Sticking out farther because of the bigger sway bar. I can't really crank it down too tight because then you'll bend the sway bar, anti-sway bar. So how are we going to solve this? I think the logical way is to grind out just a little bit of material in the bottom piece. Actually, it's probably ought to do it in this. Or grind a little bit off of that. Thing is, that isn't very deep. Don't need much. Yeah, I don't have my Dremel right here. I'll have to run down to the basement. Probably be a good thing to bring it up anyway. Never fails. Always throw you a whammy. You try to do something a little different. Anyway, I'm gonna have to go down, run to the basement, and get my Dremel tool. Okay, I'm back. I think we're going to try and just trim it up. Ideally, I probably should I've got extra set screws. Let's hope I can get it back out. Might trim that. See if we can trim a little metal off of that head of that set screw. I probably better back it off and not make it so tight, so in case I do get into trouble. Don't need to take off much. Hopefully that ain't too much. I can get the wrench back in there. My God, that should work. It's still dragging. So I need to take a little more off one side. Hey, Ned Fryer. Yep, I am a factory team guy. Having to modify, make things work. I made it work. I've got a bigger sway bar. I went to a 1/6 sway bar. Well, Associated, the biggest they have is like a 1/3 or 4. So my set screw was hanging up my sway bar. I had to do a little modifying to trim the set screw off just a little bit. By God, now it's working nice and free. You know, they never take into account that to build these things for trucks where you got to use bigger sway bars and the likes. So we fixed it up. Did it the easy way. Thought about trimming out the area where it pivots in there, but I figured, I got extra set screws. If I don't leave enough of it there to get it out, I can always replace the set screw. It is, buddy. Way we like it. They have improved the 6.4 rack over the older rack with that insert and being able to raise it and lower it. I just hope in the truck I don't get into trouble like the old ones where you snap those front pivots or those screws off. And trucks were good about breaking those. Okay, well, where are we? Need to make sure it don't look like that screw is down. Suppose we better get it in there tight and make sure the sway bar is loose. Yep, we're good now. Okay, where are we? What's the next part? Oh, we need to put in the little set screws. Change these on this new. Before they had little screws that held that sway bar in. Now they've got little slots here to hold the sway bar with set screws, which I guess that's all right. It's a lot easier making sure the sway bar is free. Uh-huh. Now get yourself a car and build one. All I've been doing lately is running carpet. I like going over to Muscatine. They let me stay at the track Friday night, so I don't have to buy a motel or leave at 4 o'clock in the morning. So I've been kind of doing the Muscatine thing. Want them just tight enough to hold it in place, but not too tight that it's hanging the sway bar up. So I think I got them both just a freckle tight. There we go. Yeah, you enjoy playing with them little cars? Sam tried to get me involved with them, and it's like, I don't want to do that. I'm not a roundy round guy. Okay, I think that's about right there. Feels like there's a little bit of play in there yet, but you know, these new cars, Associated, and I'm sure Losi too, has done pretty good. They are making these cars a lot more bulletproof. There's about one part on my four-wheel drive that I break, and that's it. I haven't broken, well, I don't have any wood here, but I haven't broken arms on these. I mean, it's rare that I break anything anymore. I don't know if that's because I'm not driving hard enough, it's or what, but yes, carpet is nice. The heck with cleaning. Get the blow dryer or the blow air blower and blow them off, and you're good. Okay. All right. Hot plates in, goes are in. Time to put some arms on. And of course, I got carbon fiber parts. You know, and that's another thing, another reason I like going to Muscatine is I get to run my modified truck over there. You think so, Bobby? At least I don't have to worry about going to Hobby Haven and getting what is that calcium on the arms that never come off for years. I just think I still got that truck downstairs, still got white stuff on it. Still use B5 parts in it. That steering link, I don't know why they cheapen those steering links up. Yeah, they were swamp races. It's like I had nothing to do with, I just sit back and let them throw that shit on, and then it turned to rock, concrete. But it still got the white shit on my cars. That kind of broke me going to Haven, that race right there. Okay, left and right. That's the rear, so that's a rear. Put the little screw in the pinhole. You know, it's kind of funny. The B5 had the captured bolt, these captured ends, like that steering link has. Best thing they came out with for, especially for a truck. You do not pop these off. Come out the B6 and went back to the damn bolt cups. It's like, you bunch of idiots. You know, and now the 6.4 car, they're back to the captured ends. It's like, duh. They did go to 3.5 turnbuckles, 3.5 millimeter turnbuckles, but you don't bend them that much. And I've still got titanium 3 mil ones I'm gonna use, and I've got B5 ball cups. Going to the 3.5, the hole is bigger in the new captured end, so I've got 3 packages of them laying around. Return of the pit. You know, it's hard to believe we ran 10 8 scales on that track. Okay, ready for the pins. Or if I got tighten them up too much. Of course I did. There we go. The other side. Glad you guys stopped in. I say I've been doing a lot of coin stuff here lately. I'm getting ready to have a giveaway. So I figured I ought to do it live, and this is my warm-up stuff for it. You know, though the speeds weren't super bad there, Bobby, I guess that was probably a saving grace. I always worried about, I seen somebody about get hit up at Bacon's track once, and that scared me. Okay, we got to get that little brace in there. Smooth edge forward. See if I can get this done. Without losing everything. There we go. Well, of course I didn't put it upside down. What an idiot. Oh yeah, there's no doubt. Even these little cars, any of these little cars, you get hit right. I seen my buddy Junior got hit with a 4-wheel drive down at Chillicothe, and he had to go to the hospital, have staples thrown in his head. So even these little tent scale things can do damage. 8 scales kind of scare me around kids. It scared me down at even when we were running them down at Blue Groove. Kids just don't look, some of them youngsters, when they run out there on the track. Thing I do like, I guess that one of the good things they figured out was to using these little set screws versus the E-clips on these pins. At least they haven't gone backwards on them. And by the way they build these, the pin don't rotate anymore in the front plate there. It's the arms rotate on the pin, so you don't wear out the steel or aluminum. A little light or tight, but they'll loosen up. And they have you sure they right there they put the roll bar link on there. Dang, I've been doing this for an hour and 15 minutes and I haven't gotten this all the farther I got. I ain't a Bradley Peterson and build them in 2 or 3 hours. Yeah, I got the Dremel up here now. I guess I should be using it. These are pretty soft. No, they're not. You can't get them upside down because little sets or stopper screw goes to the back, so that's the way they look. They call a gold wing arm. The one bad thing is about that, you ever break one, they're only left or right. Used to be front arms you could interchange, but not anymore. Now these can be a little pain in the butt to get on. There is just enough room to get them up there. And to get them on, you got to kind of pivot it at the same time as snapping it on. And there ain't enough room to really get a pair of pliers in there to squeeze them. I don't know why I don't have my needle nose out here yet. Being brand new, they don't just snap on. Either. Usually once they've been snapped on once, they usually will snap back on. They're tight when they're new. It's a good thing they don't pop off either. One on. You could probably get some guys to run oval, but I'll just tell you, Bobby, they run them over at Muscatine here this last winter, and those things, they're true to the Losi name. They're not a TLR, and they are. Oh, hopefully, yeah, I got that on there right. They tend to break. They're terrible. It's kind of like the old double X4s. It was a matter of how many would finish the races. And they've kind of died back out. They're talking about, some of these guys are talking about Associated, what has come out with the, what is it, the reflex or something, the 18th scales. And they're talking about running them. Yep, anti-sway bar links are hooked up. So those were a little bit freer, but they'll loosen up. And I think next thing is shock tower. Oh, this front bumper could go on. And what size screws do they say? 16s. Must be those right there. And let's see if we can find some blingy ones. That one's too long. Might have to use some longer ones. Those are about the only length I'm seeing. Shorter or longer, or shorter them. I think those are too short. Yeah, the reflex is kind of Associated's cheapo, and I don't know how many aftermarket parts they make for them. Why am I only seeing one of them? I think I could get by with a couple millimeter longer screw, but I'm not seeing another one. There's one. Okay. Put some blingy screws in there. Yeah, I honestly wouldn't try and get do the low C ones, Bobby. I maybe oval would be a little easier on them, but they are they don't take much of a beating, that's for sure. Steering servos seem like they're pretty common being bad or going bad. And I don't know if anybody makes aftermarket ones for them or not. I know a couple guys had them hopped up pretty good. They'd seem to last for them guys, but right out of the box, they're junk. Of course, a lot of them guys, they put the bigger motors in them, and they're fast. I mean, no doubt about that. They're quick, but I just don't know if they're worth the money. In fact, I don't know if they've really even run them this summer. Of course, summertime's slow for our hobby. It just, people got other things to do. Okay, so they say to use the outside holes. I seem like, to me, I like the middle holes. I'm gonna go look. Of course, I can always move them later, but Kit says on the shock tower to use the outside holes, but on the shock tower, but I think I would use the middle. Okay. Make sure I put it together right. I need one of them out. So I'll put that on here. Put a little thread locker on there. Oh, are you kidding me? Yeah, I mean, if the car don't say TLR versus Losi, you're just buying a toy. I mean, that's my feeling. Horizon toy. I feel that way about the fifth scales too. I mean, they're a Losi, they aren't a TLR, so they're the only way to make those fifth scales worth a darn is by spend $1,000 in aftermarket parts to make them race worthy. Go spend $1,000 on a motor. At least like our SC8s. I mean, yes, they were ready to runs, but they had all the it had all the good parts off the buggies and truggies. Except for, I mean, the motor wasn't bad. It wasn't. I mean, it was a Thunder Tiger motor. Yes, it wasn't a OS or whatever motor, but the motor ran good enough that they were fun to play with out of the box. Okay, we need some more blingy screws to put that on. I guess I can put the body mount on too. So what screws are those? 3x10 button heads. Okay, it must be those. Well, do we got a couple of them? Hopefully. Of course, everything I see in there now is a flathead. I think I got plenty of 8s. And it ain't like, oh, those are 10. That's a 10. There's a 10. Oh, that's an 8. I suppose that's a 12. There we go. Get the blingy screws in. So you've been getting a good crowd this summer down there, Bobby? I know Sam was trying to get me to come down. It's like, dude, we couldn't get you to race. I ain't gonna buy a car you don't even show up. It's like your frickin' on-road cars. You just tell me, oh, get an on-road car. It's like, dude, you aren't even racing them. Besides, put some jumps and left or right hand corners in front of me, I do better. Okay, do I got 4 of them screws? I just seen a whole pot full of them. There's one of them. Looks like there's another one of them. There's one. That's shorter. There we go. Get some pretty stuff on there. So Bobby, if you're still in here, everything stream look like it's going good, no jump frames or skip frames, no jerkiness, none of that stuff. That's what I was kind of being out here in the country. My internet ain't as fast as, of course, I'm sure yours. Ooh. Going into carbon fiber. I probably better, should have cut them first. Cool, Dennis. That's what I like to hear. I know I don't have it on you know, highest. I got it on 720p versus full HD, but they claim that I'd need a little faster internet to do that. Yeah, that should be reamed out good enough. Okay, I think that's the end of bag 2. That's buggy parts. Don't need that. Yep, on to bag 3 looks like. Okay, what are the two extra what were the screws? I think that was the bumper screws. Must have found two longer ones. Oh, those were the shorter ones. Okay. That was shock tower screws. I don't need that or that. I might leave that out though, because I'll probably lose one. I think I did have to. Oh, I know what that's from the anti-sway bar, the little pivot. Okay, what are those two little screws for? Yeah, the other two that were laying out there were too short for those holes, so I used the longer ones. That's why I had four of them, or had those two shorter ones laying next to them there. Trying to figure out what the two little tiny screws were. I wonder if that's from the old sway bar kit. Way they used to hold the sway bar screws down. Or sway bar down versus this. So I think all the screws are there. Everything's in it. Just checking back through the instructions. Because those are like 2.5 millimeter screws. Okay, I think we're good. Just extras. Throw some of the stuff I don't need off the table. At least don't need for right now. That, I think I'll need those for the rear sway bar links. Might leave that little set screw out too, because I think we use them elsewhere, and those are so frickin' easy to lose. On to bag 3. And there's some parts I won't be using in this either. I got aftermarket parts. I think all of them come in the aftermarket kit. Got carbon fiber. Ones for those. I never used these on my older vehicles. They just came out with them, I think, when they came out the 6.3. But we'll try them. If we break them, we'll know not to use them. You say I always set all the parts out. Usually try to go through the manual and see where they go, the different length screws. Those are 2 millimeter longer than those. A little tiny from the arms. It's different length. Longer. 3 nuts, 4 nuts. Well, that kind of looks like everything probably is there. And I won't be using those axles. I've got some pretty titanium ones. Instead, and make sure. I wonder what one. Looks like they give me 2s and 1s versus 3s and 0s on those. Yeah, they did. 2s and 1s. I think I'd rather have them 3s and 0s, but see what I did with my old setup. Yeah, we're getting to the caster blocks. I'm going through my old setup sheet that I had for my 6.2. See if I had 3s and 0 spacers on the up and down on the caster on the axles. Which I think I did. And the kit come with 2s and 1s and no 3s and 0s. if I okay, no, I use 2s and 1s. Okay, well, that's cool. Means I don't have to hunt for parts. Um, Sometime in the 6 kits. I don't know if it was right out of the bat with the 6 or if when they come out with some of the later updated. I don't think the 6.1 truck came on trees. I think the 6.2, well, I'm sure the 6.2 truck did. So maybe a couple years ago. I mean, they always kind of were, the parts that were broke off of trees. But yeah, that's now you don't have to have some 10-year-old sitting back in the back room breaking the parts off trees anymore. They just send them out the way they are. Of course, they make these caster blocks so you can change the angle in them now too, so that's why they got all these different little inserts. And they do send you a couple set of different style of trailing arms. Just got to make sure you grab the right ones. I do got them marked right there. I want 4s. These are 3-degree setback, or 3 millimeter setback, and these are 4s, and that's what the kits. That's what I've been running. At least the trees though go in the right, pretty much in the right bag or whatever. Ain't like some of these kits that you got 3 trees for the whole kit, and then you got to figure out which part is where. And they've actually have been pretty smart about what they At least they don't put the bad spots in, or the little spots that you gotta, where the trees attach in the wrong spots. So you have to fight them to, like put these inserts into the caster blocks. Let's see. I think I need to run the 0, if I remember right, of these. So it don't make any difference which way they go, up or down. Try and put them up. That didn't go in. There it goes. Okay, the first thing they assemble is the axle and the bearings. That's the first time I got to drag out bearings here for the... I got some ceramic bearings for it. And freaking high dollar things. I need 4 of them. 2, 3, 4. A little bit loose going into that one. Yep, that one too. Okay, that should be left. Should be right. Use the little tiny button heads. I wonder if I got any of them for some bling. There's one. There's 2. Okay, what are the other 2? Three by 6. Oh, they go into these. Well, I got 4 of them. Of course, I don't see no reason why. Find the longer ones. I got 4 of them. So I don't see any more of the little shorties. Nope, they're all 8s. Okay. Let's see how long threaded these. If I can use 8s in these, or I gotta use the 6s. Oh, you dogs. Why couldn't you drill that hole out just a little bit longer? So I gotta use these. The shorter ones. And we have a wrench out here that fits these. Hopefully I can get it with a pair of pliers. Left and right. Dang, 2 hours I've been doing this. Still working on the front end. Okay, I use those. And to put on these little thingamabobbers. steering. Come on, I don't think there's a left and right on these. You can flip them over. Sure, I got them right. Doing that don't seem right. Like that angle. Oh yeah, goes like that. Duh. Even though they claim to use shorter ones for these, all I've got's longer. I don't see no reason why you can't use a longer one in here. Stick out the bottom a little bit, but it ain't gonna stick out much. Boy, those screws get hot. Cutting them threads. Yep, there's no reason why you couldn't use an 8mm screw, length screw in that. It barely hangs out. Ain't a place where you're gonna catch carpet with it, so. It started. Like I say, since they're carbon fiber, oh boy, that's get hot. I always run the screws in and out, or use a pilot screw, cut the threads. Before I put the screws that I'm going to use in. Okay, we got left and right of those built. Oh, yep, I'll go ahead and put the ball studs in them. Don't look like they use any spacers. Just a lock nut. Hey Donald, how are you? Doing a little more building here. Got a little bit yet to do. I want to get done. I got to go out and do some lawn mowing a little bit, but see if we can't get through this tree. Shouldn't take me too long. Already been on for a couple hours. Just about got the front end built. Yeah, I've only got about 20 minutes. I got hot the other night. I only had about 20-30 minutes of mowing yet to do, and it's like, the hell with it. The one thing, you wait till right now, the grass is dry, so I can clip right along. I figured as humid as it was this morning, I didn't want to be mowing right away. I would have had to go slow, and it wasn't cool this morning either. So okay, ready to put the I think that's the way I did them too. Went to the inside hole. Okay. Should be that way. Yeah. So it goes through there and it goes to the hole on there, right there. Appreciate stopping in, Donald. Not get too carried away on them. Oh, and did I grab the wrong one? That's right. That's right. This is the left side one. Okay. This is one of the places you can change the length of your drag links on your arm, so it actually will adjust steering on the front. You can use a different hole there, and you can use a different hole there. Make that turnbuckle that goes between them different lengths. And then you can actually a finer adjustment, you can actually put ball studs underneath these and actually change the length of that turnbuckle too. So a lot of adjustments to these things, ones you wouldn't even think about. It goes to that side. Okay. What are those 2.5 screws that was in the previous one? Because I've used these and these. These 2.5s that were in the previous bag, they've got the steering stop. Yeah, it says kit included, so they must have had that in the previous bag. I don't use them. You can do that with your servo. I didn't have them in the previous cars. Okay, now I gotta remember which way I want these. Make the car as low as possible. You want the thin spacer in the top. This I want to make sure I do this right. It always confuses me. It's attached there. You want this up as high as you can because that lowers the front end of the car down. Okay, we want the thin spacer, the 1 millimeter one there, and the 2 millimeter one down there. $14 and $12. Okay, 14 goes in the top one. Where have I got any of them in blingy? They're not. I remember right, I couldn't find any. They're all yeah, there's 2 different lengths there. 3. That's the right ones, or they need to be longer. Those look like the right ones. Yeah, I'm gonna put some bling screws in there. Boy, that gets hot. That screw head is hot. I just put in. That whole area is hot. Holy crap. But that's why you always kind of want to tap the screws out good. So that it doesn't melt the plastic right to the screw and then makes it a total pain in the rear to get out. Hold it in place. At least get this one started. Cool. Yeah, anybody that's watching, you can actually raise the height of this axle or lower it by the spacers that go in here. These are 1-2 spacers that are in there, and you can actually get 0-3 spacers, and actually it gives you about what, 4 millimeters of adjustment to the height of this axle. On carpet, you're usually wanting to get the chassis as low as possible, so you want to raise the axle up as high as you can, but this is what the kit came with, is the 2s and 1s, and that's what I used on my old 6.2 car, so that's where we're going to start. With this one. Ooh, I didn't like that. That acted like that might have stripped. I don't have another one of those. Stripped or cracked. My God, it did strip. Got that wrench turned up pretty high. We may do, we may try and just put some thread locker on it. I bet you it'll just come out and they'll be, I'm definitely going to have to watch it. That was the shorter screw. I could probably run a longer screw in that if I had to. Yeah, there's the threads right there on the screw. throw a little thread locker on it. Hopefully it'll kind of lock it in place. Be a little more careful about putting it in. That might be a part I have to buy. It did sort of tighten up there, so I think we'll be all right. If I ever have to tear anything apart, I'm sure I'll see the thread locker on it and maybe hopefully remember. I don't know if I could put a longer screw in that or not. It says you use the little shorter ones. I probably could get by. Looks like it's got about the same amount of space for threads in there. I think that it would maybe hit the bearing if they were too long. Anyway, okay, don't need that. I'm gonna need those little shims there. And ready to put the hinge pins in it. And if I remember right, yep, it should go on the backs, the little spacer. There's a little adjustment that you could do. You can actually move these axles forward or back. Standard position is back, so, or forward. So put the little 1mm spacer there. I couldn't tell you exactly what moving the axle forward would actually accomplish, but you can do it. Oh yeah, and that's right. Hopefully I've got some set screws, longer ones. I've always pinned these. In my other cars. They don't give you that part, but it's something you can do. And what it does, if you put the set screw in there, it will lock this piece to the hinge pin, and the pin will only rotate in the arms versus on this piece, which it could do if the pins were to become bound up. And that's a softer plastic inside of that. Yeah, see you, Ryan. Yeah, you too, Dennis. I'm just about getting ready to get off here. Got just a couple more screws to put in, and we're going to call it a afternoon myself. Like I say, I just got that side. That side is done, all but the set screw in the bottom. Yeah. Good luck with running the slash at Hobby Haven. I would have no help for you there. First off, it's a short course or short bus there, Ryan. Like I say, well, I haven't been to Hobby Haven for, God, 5 years, 6 years, 5 years anyway. I don't do that outdoor dirt anymore. Like this week, it's going to be about 110 on the track down there. And 120 in the pits. And I don't own a pop-up. Okay, well, let's see if I can find some set screws. And we'll call it a day. Or at least an afternoon. I don't know if I'll get back after it this evening or not. Been on here for 2.5 hours. I should have some yet. I think I should. My extra screws. I'm looking for some of these. That's a longer one. So that's a longer one. I'm not for sure what I need, if I need longer or shorter. That's a longer one. There's a shorter one. Figure it out here in a second. I think I need the shorter ones. Yep, I need that length right there. They may even say hinge pin will be tied into caster locks but should rotate freely in the front arms. Yeah, once they get banged around a little bit, they get loose. That's why they have these set screw holes in them right here. But they don't give you that set screw. I make sure they stay put. Biggest thing is getting them down so there isn't anything exposed, because this is basically the lowest point on the car and you don't want to be ripping people's carpet up. And they are just perfectly flush right there. That one is. So I wouldn't have been able to use the longer ones. The way I look at it, they put them holes there for a reason. They know those are going to work loose. At least whoever designed them is thinking ahead. They just don't want to give you that 1 cent set screw and say, well, if you want to use it, use it. If you don't have to. Well, I want it in there. Okay. That's the front end. And that's all we're going to do today. Thank anybody that's watching or oh yeah, see you don't yeah. Yeah, I don't race outdoors anymore, Donald. I don't even race indoors unless it's air conditioned pretty much anymore. So there's one of the nicest tracks in the country is over in Omaha, and it's not air conditioned. I won't even. About 5 years ago, I decided after I got tired of being ready to go home before the main started because I was so worn out from the heat that I don't do that anymore. I go where it's air conditioned. So but anyway, that's all we're gonna do today, guys. If anybody's watching, or at least here this afternoon, I might come back in and start on the rear of the car, but we're done with bag 3. We'll go to bag 4. That's the rear stuff, so that'll be later on. But anyway, thanks for watching. Anybody still in here? Donald. We might be back later tonight. It might be tomorrow. So I'm going to go get hot and mow the grass for a little bit. So we'll see everybody later. Thanks for watching. Everybody that checks back in and was watching me do the build non-live, thanks for watching. So